Week in review, Monday, April 7th, 2025. I'm going to start this off again with the dart throw, which has kind of it's become a little routine for this. So here we go. I'm spin around and throw it. It's far. That was way off too. That was way left. So first time I did this, it did pretty good. The last two times I have not. Let's jump into this. I went to the Mayhem Classic this weekend. Got in late Saturday and then spent the morning and early afternoon there on Sunday. It was really good to catch up with everyone. That's our official first event to qualify athletes to the CrossFit Games. And so now, from that, 4 athletes have qualified to the Games. What's really cool is I don't think we've ever had athletes this early qualify to the CrossFit Games in a more traditional model like this. I think the year in 19, I think Greg gave away a couple spots if you won the Open, but in a more traditional qualifying way, this is probably the earliest that anyone has punched their ticket. What I also really liked about the format and about this weekend was the first event to qualify people to the CrossFit Games was truly in an affiliate. So that event, that competition with some of the top athletes in the sport wasn't in a stadium, wasn't in a big setting. It was in CrossFit Mayhem, which is a legit CrossFit affiliate, and I think that aspect of it is pretty cool. I think that piece of it growing and scaling in the future is a neat part of this model. Meaning, for example, next year having a few more events in very large affiliates like Mayhem to run events like this. Also, some of the spots to the age groups, having some in-person spots at an affiliate event, or maybe even for the teams, having a few team events that are in person and at affiliates. So I was really excited about that aspect. And Rich and the team, those guys did a great job setting up and building it out and making it a great experience for the fans, for the volunteers, for the athletes, for everyone involved. So good job to them. I hung out with Rich a lot, had a lot of good discussions with him, hung out with Rory, talked a lot with Rory, and then got around, talked to a lot of athletes, talked to Colton, talked to Kale, talked to Fee. She came up and talked to me for a bit. Jay, talked to Jay, Sprague. It was good. Caught up with Spencer. We talked a lot about the CrossFit Athlete Council and everything they're doing. So good discussions with a lot of athletes, and cool to see the 4 who won and actually made it and are advancing to the Games. Interestingly for them, they have a nice little break. So April, May, June, July, August. So they have several months to start prepping. One reoccurring theme too that was neat to see with this new model was the fact that you could not punch your ticket here, and you still have a few other opportunities. You obviously have the online semifinal that's coming up, the online qualifier that we're doing, and then you have other events you could go to. So whereas in years past, call it regional model or even the old semifinal model, you had one shot, and if you didn't make it, you weren't going. So these guys have a few opportunities, and I think that piece of it is a nice expression of it for the athletes and for their ability to kind of come back, refocus, and hit another event and try to earn their ticket to the Games. Because of the format, I will say this about the Games this year: those 30 men and 30 women who go, they will be the best 30 men and 30 women. And it'll probably be the deepest and most well-rounded field we've had maybe ever at the CrossFit Games. And I say that because in all years past, there's been a regionality aspect of spots, meaning so we give some spots to certain areas around the world, which is a good thing, but it's just a different way that we're doing it now. So what that means is sometimes, and all of those spots, those people are really good now. Sometimes in the past, they were not as good as everyone else. So, but we're taking that card completely out. So if you're at the Games, you really earned it. And not that those guys didn't really earn it, but you're a really good competitor relative to everyone else in the field. So Mayhem Classic, really good trip. Glad I went out there. Drug testing last week on April 2nd, we announced some of our results from our recent drug testing round of off-season testing. I'm just going to read what we posted. The CrossFit Games anti-doping program conducted another series of out-of-season competition tests. All athletes tested received negative results. These athletes included James Sprague, Saxon Panchik, Madeline Stewart, Emily Rolfe, Roman Krennikov, Austin Hatfield, Brooke Wells, Ricky Gerard, Alexis Raptis, Justin Medeiros, Dallin Pepper, Bethany Flores, Samuel Quant, Tia Claire Toomey, Paige Semenza, Alex Kazan, Jason Hopper, Haley Adams, and Danielle Brandon. The samples were collected by doping control officers from Drug Free Sport International and analyzed at the UCLA Olympic Analytical Laboratory or the Sports Medicine Research and Testing Laboratory. The samples were screened for the full WADA out-of-competition testing panel of prohibited substances. CrossFit maintains a strict anti-doping policy and, as is standard for professional sporting competitions, will continue to test athletes to ensure adherence to our policies. So we will continue to expand that program and test more athletes. But, our athletes, our community, they always get accused of being on something or doping, and those athletes, we just tested every athlete I named there, and it all came back. None of them popped. So, do I think that means that everybody on the leaderboard is clean? No. But do I think the top athletes are? For the most part, yes, absolutely, because we're testing, and then we test at various stages throughout the rest of the season. Are there people who are skirting the system? I don't know. I'll say this. Every one of these athletes had no idea we were testing or testing them. These are all surprise tests. And it's not like we're doing the test. We're not sending people from the CrossFit Games team. Again, this is a third-party. Samples are collected by doping control officers from Drug Free Sport International. And Drug Free Sport, I don't know if you guys know this now, they also do the testing. Recently, they took it over for the UFC. So this is a very legit organization. So, and again, none of these athletes knew. We'll continue that throughout the season and into the games and out of season after the games. So, really happy with that. Really glad. I'm glad nobody popped, but if they did, we would have handled that and put that out there too. The L1 test. So this weekend, so we'll be back up. In April of 2010, April 1st, we introduced the L1 test to the Level 1 seminar. And that was because we were becoming accredited through ANSI. And 15 years later, this past weekend, April 5th and 6th, was the first complete weekend where we've taken the test offline. So what that means, so for the last 15 years, a lot of you who are watching this have probably been to a Level 1. You know that at the end of the course, you took a written test. Now, for all courses going forward, all Level 1s going forward, the written test is now not part of the Level 1 experience on scene. And I think that's a great improvement and a great advancement forward for that course. What happens is you get home, you get emailed a link, and then at your home and at your own convenience, I think that we put a time frame on it, you can actually take the test and it's still accredited. So basically after COVID, the technology for administering tests and doing it at home greatly improved, and they had to adapt to everything going on. And so that's why we are able to partner with a system that does this with some amount of security. And so I think it's a really big moment for the Level 1 experience, for the Level 1, for our team. The fact that now the trainers and the actual participants, everyone involved, can just focus on the course and learning and getting better, and not on actually having to take a test at the end of day 2. So I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of the team who put that together, and I'm really excited that we accomplished that. I'm going to jump into comments now. At Ben Davis 843, Dave, will there be any camping at the games? We were a tent camper in Madison and loved it. Don't see any space in Albany. Thank you. The venue is like right in downtown, so right there, no, there's not any camping. I don't know if there's any local campgrounds, but it's probably worth checking out or looking into. At Jason Ailes 4647, Mayhem did amazing with that event. The programming, broadcast, etc. Rich is the GOAT. Yep, they did a great job. Talked about that. At Ken Tate Chison 8020. Hey Dave, first off, I'm really excited about 2.0 of the book. I love the first one. It was super helpful for me as a small-time event organizer. Quick question. Are there any plans to release a longer-term calendar for CrossFit events? I'd love to get more involved with things like the Community Cup. Our affiliate was 42nd worldwide in participation, but this year it landed just a week before our big local event. For us, venue permits and logistics have to be booked well in advance, so summer planning can feel like a gamble without knowing how close things will fall to major CrossFit dates. We had our event date locked in before anything was announced before the 2025 game season. Just wondering if a published roadmap is in the works down the line. We should definitely have a more solidified published roadmap and schedule. We will hopefully get there once we have a season and a format that is something we can build off of and grow on. And I think this format gives us something to build off of. So it's great feedback. It's a great point. Hopefully we can deliver on that. At MTB Transex 3. Hey Dave, is there any way you could program the semifinals Monday through Friday so as an affiliate it's easier to plan and have the class also do the WOD and it flows easier instead of trying to fit our athletes with a regular scheduled programming? So the semifinals qualifying people to the games and or in the age group qualifying people to the age group games. Basically, and it's a super small amount of people now, so it's way less compared to like quarterfinals where it's 25%. It's only a couple percent are able to. And these, in theory, are the more serious athletes. And so this stage isn't necessarily about trying to, where the Community Cup will absolutely be a Monday through Friday. This stage is programmed Thursday through Sunday. This isn't necessarily, these workouts aren't programmed so you can work them like with the intent of you working them into your normal class schedule. That being said, if you want to do that, I'm not discouraging you against that at all. But I think what I'm trying to convey here is the fact that this is the more professional end, the more elite end of the sport, and these guys are trying to qualify for the game. So the Thursday through Sunday kind of condensed window, get them done. You know, some of them have to be done multiple in a day. I think that's what we're going for, rather than this stage being about ease of facilitating in an affiliate schedule. That will be the Community Cup. This is not that. So probably not the answer you want to hear, but that's how at least I'm thinking about that. At Molo Please, where can we buy your first book? PS5 burpee penalty every time you miss the dartboard. I've already missed a bunch. Where you can buy it at Amazon. We set it up through Amazon when I was working for CrossFit years ago, and I don't even get anything from it, so I don't think you're supporting me in that way. But I think CrossFit does still. I won't set the second book up like that, but definitely. Just Google it at Amazon. I think that's the only place we published it. At TS Teddy 27. Thank you for what you do, sir. Just curious on when volunteer opportunities will open for the games. I think April 22nd. April 22nd. I just asked Heather that. At J Delato 2. Hey Dave, when is the Thai chili olive oil going to be back in stock? Thank you for everything you do for the CrossFit community. Thai's still out of stock. I don't know yet. I got to get an answer from the local guy I work with on the olive oil. But there's still garlic, lemon, and the standard EVOO, and there's still the merch. So there's still merch available. At TA Jones 24, at Dave Castro 6289, will there be CEUs available for the level 3s for attending these new one-day courses? Yep. So if you want to go to the new one-day course, you have your level 3, you will get CEUs. At D Wizzle 77, the open was tight, but I felt like it favored smaller athletes. How much consideration goes into making sure you are not biasing for shorter athletes when programming? So when you said that comment, I went to the leaderboard and I went through the top 10 athletes. Colton 64 inches, Dallin 72 inches, Adler, these are the top 10 in order of 1 to 10. Dallin 72 inches, Adler 69, Hatfield 67, Kale 60 inches, he's the shortest by far. Hopper 73 inches, he's the tallest. Jay Crouch is 5'9". Ricky Gerard is also 5'9". Oldest is 5'8". There's a gentleman from South America who was 10th. He didn't have his height listed, so I didn't use his information. Justin Medeiros was 11th, and he's 5'9". So the average height of the top 10, I only did this for men, and I only did it through the top 10, was 5'8". It's 68 inches. Average height of those men was 68 inches, which is 5'8". So of the top 10, their average height was 5'8". Rich Froning is 5'9", and he won the games however many times he won. Matt Frazier is 5'7", and he won the games actually even more times than Rich did. Justin Medeiros, who also won the games is 5'9", and Jeff Adler is 5'9". So my point there is, I think because someone like Colton was first, and you could throw Hatfield was fourth, and Kale was fifth at 60 inches tall. There is this. It's easy to go to this place where it really favored the short people. But there was also Dallin, who's my height. He's 6 feet tall. Adler, again, who's 69. And Hopper was 6 at 73 inches. Hopper's over 6 feet tall, and he was sixth place in the Open. So I don't buy for a second this narrative that it favors that it just favors short people. I think the fittest people are the ones who prevailed through the Open, regardless of the programming. And generally speaking, someone like Hopper is an outlier. What I mean by that is tall guys in CrossFit don't do well, just by the nature of, it's an outlier like a short guy in the NBA. There are short guys in the NBA, but it's not the norm. It's going to be the same thing with tall guys in CrossFit at this level, at this high level. It's going to be the same thing with really, really short guys too. I think Colton's on the verge of being really, really short for the competitor. Kale is definitely much shorter, and he's he's on the fringe of too short maybe for the highest level. But I don't think it was favoring smaller athletes. Again, the average height of those top 10 was 5'8", and 5'8" is basically 5'8", 5'9" is maybe the ideal spot for height for an elite CrossFit athlete. Also, that list of people, besides Kale, is pretty much a who's who of top CrossFitters and top athletes. And so basically the validity of the test being a complete and well-rounded test is captured within that cohort of individuals. And then you take two of the top four people. Colton was 1, Hatfield was 4 overall, and they both, it's interesting, and they both won this weekend's event that someone else completely programmed. So in the Worldwide Open with 3 events, Colton was first, Hatfield was second. And what I'm going to say is interesting in a second. I'll fill that in a second. Then this entirely different event that Rich programmed. So you have one event that we programmed, one event that Rich programmed, Rich and his team, with 5 more events. Amongst some of the best CrossFitters in the world, Colton and Hatfield were still 1 and 2, or 2 and 1, however they finished. What's interesting is Dallin and Adler, the 2 people who were in between them, were not at that event. So the individuals who were 2nd and 3rd on the leaderboard weren't at this event, where the 1st and 4th person were 2nd and 1. So I wonder what would have happened if Dallin and Adler were there. I guarantee you Dallin would have probably won or bumped someone off. But anyways, so my point is, I think this notion of it favoring smaller athletes is off. I also think this notion of it not being a well-rounded or complete test is also off because of the results and because of the number of people. Here's where the Open is missing the mark or is not programmed appropriately. If the names on the leaderboard, these top 10 names, are all unknowns and people that don't go to semifinals and don't go to the games and do really well in all of the competitions. But that doesn't happen. And the fact that even as inclusive to the community as these workouts are, where everybody's able to do them, there's some stopping points at certain events or workouts, but everyone's able to do them, the community's able to do them, and then these guys are still able to express their fitness through intensity and through going faster. That's exactly what the Open's about. The workouts don't have to be, the difficulty doesn't need to come through the complexity. The difficulty comes through the intensity. And so that's my rant on the Open and the programming and it favoring smaller people. Another statement about the Open. At Enrique Noriega 3132. The Open was great. Make it mandatory to participate if you want to move on. Time to make everyone play together. I think it is. I don't know what you mean by that statement. Meaning, like, if you want to go to the games, you have to finish top 1% in the Open. And actually, I don't know if this is true, but I heard Guy, who was at the Mayhem Classic, he could have won or taken one of those top 2 spots, but he didn't finish in the top 1% in the Open, so he can't get a spot to the games anymore at this point. So I think it is mandatory. I don't know what you mean by this statement. Same thing for the age groups and everyone else. There's a certain performance level you have to hit in the Open, and then also in another qualifying stage to advance to the games. So the Open was great. Make it mandatory to participate in if you want to move on. It is. All right. Thanks for tuning in to the Weekend Review. Leave your comments in the comment section, and I will see you guys next week on this. I'm going to start doing a few other interview things, the affiliate interviews, and then the games interviews. I'm going to start those up again, the athlete interviews. So those will come this week too. All right, out.